But right now, we're with Jameson Haverkamp with her book, Mom Minus Dad. And, of course, it's about resources for losing a parent. And I have to say this. When I noticed, I'm not the first one to go through this, that when I lost my dad, that I had grief of my own, and I had issues that I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. I also had my mom's issues to deal with as well. Mm-hmm. As I said, you know, she didn't work the finances, and she turned to her kids going, what do I do? Mm-hmm. And while at the same time, I'm still trying to grieve with what do I do without without my dad. Mm-hmm. Did you go through things like that, or, you know, what was your approach? What was your experience?
Yeah, we exactly went through that. My father actually was a stockbroker, so he handled all the major finances and the bill paying and all those kind of things for 34 years. So my mom was used to, you know, managing smaller amounts of household, you know, finances, but not these major, large decisions. And so what my sister and I found ourselves in this role of, we call it surrogate spouses, mm-hmm. you know, right. is who does the parent trust the most? In our situation, it was her kids, you know, instead of, you know, advisors or other people like that. You know, usually it's their children. Yeah. And so we found ourselves in the role of, you know, all of a sudden, the parent comes to the children for all this advice, and you're juggling your own life and your own grief. And then all of a sudden you have these additional responsibilities, and, you know, your parents looking to you for all the resources and advice that you may or may not know. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you know, you have this double whammy of a life here, and, you know, some of your personal life is getting infringed upon, you know, whether it's workouts or your personal life or, you know, eating on the run, you know, but your time and is getting, you know, infringed upon. And it definitely, all of that, you know, affected us. And, you know, we drank too much coffee and ate on the run and did all the wrong things, you know, and you know, my health is greatly impacted by this, and I think this is one of the other reasons, you know, to provide this to other people is health, you know, of both widows and the adult children, because, you know, the caregiving world is so huge right now, and it's just exploding of juggling everything from your kids to managing your aging parents and everything in between, and health for everybody is just a big problem. And keeping everybody healtty.
Mm-hmm.
Because stress.
Mm-hmm. Now, notice, it's the Essential Resource Guide for busy adults.
Yes.
You know, but I hope this isn't the resources to say, here's a place where you can drop off your mom and say, here, please take care of her.
Right. No.
Well, what are some key things in here that some people can expect when they flip through this, or
Right. Well, it covers the 10, what I call kind of the major parent loss topics, which are funeral and memorial services, kind of like the best places for that, and grief and loss resources of books, things like that. Taking care of yourself, how to do that, where to find support groups. I have all the 50 states and kind of where the best centers, where the best, you know, hospices and grief places for parent loss and widows. Paperwork and finances, where do you go for help with that? Technology support, that was a big thing for us. There's now a lot of remote access software where, like, my mom was not very proficient on the computer. So there's a lot of, you know, access now where you can actually, you know, go into your parents' computer from far away and help them with stuff if they're looking for documents, which wasn't, you know, as advanced in 2000 when we went through this. But then, you know, even motivations of kind of moving forward as you go through loss is a section in there. Holidays and anniversaries, grief and, you know, Christmas and Thanksgiving are really hard, especially the first year after, because all of a sudden there's this person who is a major part of your life not around for that, and should you change things or not is a big issue.
And did you put in there your own personal, like when you say, okay, on this step you do such and such, you also put in what you went through as well, some of your personal story throughout?
Yeah, the
book?
way I structured it was kind of like, these are some big things to kind of think about, some kind of themes, and then I kind of wrote about how we handled it. Either
Right.
I wish we had done this,
Oh, that's good.
or what we
Right.
did wrong.
Exactly.
And then I put in there kind of some key resources in each chapter, and in the back of the book are all the resources. And then I have questions at the end of it for you to ask yourself about your particular family situation, to kind of see what would work for your family.
And right now, I just feel like I also just want to encourage folks that are out there that even if you haven't lost a loved one, perhaps maybe somebody out there knows of someone who has recently. And one thing I know, and you kind of mentioned it too, is that first year. You know, people know it's hard for you when you lose someone, and then it's hard for you during the funeral. And then, but after that first month or so, people kind of fade off and forget that you even lost someone. And whereas that whole year, there's still challenges and stuff that we can, learn, and resources that we need to go to, because you still have the first birthdays and the first Christmases and all these firsts that you still have to get through, that some people, you just, until you're there, you really don't know how.
Yeah, I find that, I wanted people to use this like the first year, and then have it as a resource to go back to, because maybe your parent doesn't move the first year, but maybe they move the second year. And like I have a moving checklist in there of like kind of the 12 steps to go through. And a lot of this stuff, it's not that you need a PhD, to figure it out. But when you go through this, you're kind of in this fog. You're in this shock that this is happening.
Everything's out of control.
And you kind of just want someone to just take your hand and lead you through, what do I do?
Right.
Because you're juggling so much stuff. Like one resource in here that I think is just a phenomenal resource I wish I'd known about is AARP. They have a website where there's a whole section for grief and loss, and you don't have to be a member to access it. And they have checklists in there for the first month, the first 6 months after, and a year after, which is all the financial and legal documents of what you need to pull together, how to get survivors benefits, funeral and memorial service information, all the checklists I wish we had, the first week after we got back. And it's all free online.
Now, where can folks get this book?
Mom-Dad.com or Amazon.com.
Okay. Wonderful. And well, that is fantastic. Again, I encourage anyone who is going through some, problems where they've lost someone, or even those that they, if you know someone who has, because it's never easy. Even I think those who have holding a good face, it's still not easy.